ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। व्याप्तिर्यस्य निजे निजेन मनसा पक्षे सपक्षे स्थिति व्यावृत्तिश्च विपक्षतोत्थ विषये शक्तिर्न वै बाध्यते नैवास्ति प्रतिपक्ष युक्तिरतुलं शुद्धं प्रमाणं समे भूयात् तत्व विनिर्णयाय भगवान आनंद तीर्थो मुनि। श्रीमद् आनंद तीर्थार्य सन्मनस्सरसि भुवि अनुव्याख्यान नलिने चंचरी गति में मनः सनातनं रूपं युगोपदर्शयन् आनंद सिंधु परित प्रवर्धयन् अंतस्तमः स्तोमहरः राजतां चैतन्य रूपो विदुरद्भुतोदयः। हरे कृष्णा. So we will continue our discussion on the topic of Vedānta Syamantaka. As the Syamantaka unfolds, more and more new gems, I hope, are getting uncovered. So what was the topic of discussion in the last class? Can somebody recollect? Hare Krishna. Am I audible? Are you able to hear me?
You're audible, Prabhu. We're thinking, I think.
Yes, Prabhuji. If somebody can recollect what we discussed previously.
We were discussing about various types of pramanas. Out of 10, we were trying to identify how everything gets consolidated into three: Pratyaksha, Anuman, and Shabda. We explored each and every pramana. You explained a lot on each and every pramana with examples. Then we spoke about Vyapti. I'm trying to take my notes. After this, I don't remember much from the top of my head.
One thing is the Pratyaksha Pramana, Anumana Pramana, and Shabda Pramana. These three Pramanas, the Lakshanas of each of them were given. And apart from the Lakshanas of the three Pramanas, the Pratyaksha is superior to Anumana because when compared with each other. And Shabda is the most superior. It is beyond the two. That is what we understood. One more thing. Anything else you all recollect?
Regarding Vedas, you said that how Vedas are self-praman, like we don't need any other evidence for.
Yes. And how is it compared with? It is compared with what? It is compared with Pratyaksha. When you see, you don't need secondary evidence to prove what you see. It is self-revealing. The object itself reveals to us. So similarly, the prameyas like Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, all these prameyas are self-revealing. And Shastras are the medium for that. And if the medium, the representative, is faulty, then what to do?
Change the representative.
Yeah, we cannot blame the Shabda Pramana. Just like Pratyaksha cannot be blamed if there is a fault in the eyes. Similarly, we cannot blame the Shabda Pramana itself. We have to change the medium. That's all. So that is where we were standing. And now we will get into more of Shabda Pramana. Um, so, when somebody comes and tells, Nadi tire pancha falani santi, on the bank of the river there are 5 beautiful tasty fruits, then what will we do? We either trust him or we don't trust him, because we have to go to the river and we have to search the fruits, climb the tree and get them. So either for all this austerity, either we trust the person or we don't trust. And what are the factors that are decided whether to trust the person or no? Yes.
It depends on who we are listening from.
Some close friend of mine or some parent, some very close relative is more trustworthy. Correct. And if you have to go deep into the forest, then the person of the forest department is more trustworthy because he is accustomed to going in the forest like that. So there should be some reliability. Then we can trust. So there is something called Aptavakya and Anaptavakya. Aptavakya means some reliable source, somebody who is dear to us or somebody who has taken the business. That person's words are more trustworthy. Anaptavakyas are not trustworthy. And in this regard, Prabhupada gives some example in the introduction to Bhagavad Gita. Can somebody recollect?
Sorry, Prabhu, can you ask the question again?
In this regard of Aptavakya and Anaptavakya, Prabhupada gives an example in the introduction to Bhagavad Gita. Ojasvi Krishna Prabhu, yes.
In the beginning, he talks about the going to the physician. Not sorry, when having the medicine bottle, you can read about how to consume that medicine as it written on the bottle.
Or you can ask a friend
Yeah.
how to consume the medicine. But which is the better method Prabhupada prescribes?
Going to the physician or the doctor.
Yes, yes, yes. Correct. So the physician is more reliable. So taking his opinion or his prescription is more reliable than asking a friend or reading the bottle contents of the bottle and taking. Because there is some stake in the business. He knows the subject and that is why he's more reliable. Now, in this case, in the case of Shastras, there are two divisions. One is called Paurushaya and one is called Apaurushaya. So Paurushaya means something which is said by a person, like I am saying something. So you cannot completely say that whatever we say is rejectable, because then there will be no need of this class at all. If we are going to just reject the pramanas, then there is no need of class at all. But at the same time, how much of it to take? That is the question. So this has been always a matter of confusion. If you remember the first class, Sridhar Srinivas Prabhu pointed out this question, saying that the Ritiks are accustomed to giving different letters of Prabhupada, different quotes of Prabhupada, and different statements in order to prove the Ritvik theory. So how will we deal with what is the right way of Pramana Shastra and what is the right thing? So before that, you should understand what are Paurushya and what are Apaurushya. Vedas are Apaurushya because they are eternal. They are manifest in the world at different points of time through different rishis, but actually the original Swarup of the Vedas is eternal. Eternal means Anadi, just like Jiva is Anadi, Ishvara is Anadi, Jiva is Anadi, Prakriti is Anadi, Kala is Anadi, Karma is also Anadi. But the first four don't have an end, whereas karma has an end. So similarly, the Vedas are Anadi. The other Shastra like Purana and all, they are manifest every time separately. They are written by Vedavyasa or written by somebody else. In this way, they are manifest. So they are Paurushya, whereas the Vedas themselves are Apaurushya. It is mentioned in the Mahabharata that eternal, infallible Vedas are generated by the words of the Supreme Lord in every millennium. All other scriptures come from it. So the Vedas are eternal. They are manifest in every millennium by the teaching, by the words of Vishnu or through the mouth of Vishnu. So in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, there is this shloka: Asya mahato bhutasya nishvasitam etat yad rigvedo yajurveda samvedo atharvano angirasa इतिहास पुराणम विद्योपनिषद श्लोकः सूत्राणि अनुव्याख्यानानि व्याख्यानानि च. So what is mentioned in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad is that the Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samveda, Atharvana, Angirasa, the Puranas, Itihasas, the Upanishads, the Sutras, and the Chanda, everything comes out through the breathing of Vishnu. The comparison is that when the fire is kindled, the smoke automatically rises up because the fuel is wet. So similarly, when the great being, Mahataha, the great Supreme Lord, breathes out, the four Vedas manifest, the Shastras manifest when he breathes out. So it is not like the breathing of conditioned souls, wherein it manifests Durganda. It manifests smell, whereas when the Supreme Lord breathes out, the Vedas are manifest. So Vedas are not composed by somebody with defects, Purusha. So a Purusha is supposed to have four defects. They are called Brahma, Pramada, Vipralipsa and Karnapata. Brahma, Pramada, Vipralipsa, Karnapata means we are illusioned, we commit mistakes, then we cheat others, and Vipralipsa, Karnapata, our senses are imperfect. So these are the four defects which are there in all Purushas. Hence, whatever a Purusha says cannot be an authority. It cannot be perfect, because whatever a Purusha says or writes or does or manufactures, it will have the Purusha doshas, it will have the defects of the Purusha in them. So that is why the Purusha can never be considered an authority on things. I may tell Nadi Tere Pancha Phalani Santi, on the river bank there are 5 fruits. I would have told it seriously. I am a close friend for his benefit so that he will eat good fruits, I could have told. I could have told it out of hatred that somehow let him suffer, go there and suffer and all. Maybe there are thorns, let him suffer. I could have told in that way. Or I could have just told with the sense that let him waste his time, till then I will steal his things. It can also happen that I will tell him out of joke, and then later on I will tell, oh, I was just joking. Could be. So now all these things can be there in a Purusha, whereas the Veda, because there is no Purusha who is written it, there is no agenda behind it. And because there is no agenda behind it, hence it is free from those defects which are there in that is what makes the Vedas common for humanity. Now, I make certain rules that this meeting has to be there at 2:30, and in the group description I put a Zoom and 2:30 and all those things I put. There is no guarantee that everyone will be able to join it or attend. Maybe for various reasons. One thing is this time is not suitable for us. It can also mean that this person's whatever he is teaching may not be according to what we understand. Various reasons, the whole program, whatever is in the group description, may not work for everyone. So what we do is, then if my rules don't work, then what happens? We call a meeting. What is common for everyone? We make a set of rules that are common for everyone, and based on those rules we follow. So that will be some written record. But what is common for this group may not be beneficial for some other group. We all have unanimously decided something, but for the some other group it will not work. Similarly, let's say all the citizens of the country get together and write a constitution, which is beneficial for everyone. Nobody can question that. But then that constitution will be beneficial for Indians. It will not be beneficial for Pakistanis. So for them, they will say, no, we don't agree with that constitution. So what is that something which is common for everyone across all? I mean, it should take care of all citizens. It should take care of all times, past, present, and future, and all situations. Is there something which is common for all? That thing a Paurusha Grantha cannot be, because Paurusha will have these four defects of a Purusha, and because of the four defects of the Purusha, he will impose his problems, and there will be somebody with whom it will conflict. But because Vedas are considered apaurushaya, without any author, so that is where these problems don't exist. Okay, I was cleaning my house, and in the process of cleaning my house, I found some old book whose front cover is torn. There is no mention of the author of that book. So, can I declare it as apaurushaya? What do you think? There is no Purusha author's name written on that. Can I declare it as apaurushaya?
No,
Huh?
no.
But how will you prove it?
It first of all, it has to be proved that it is not written by Purusha.
Hmm.
So just because it doesn't have the front page does not make the Hindu paper apaurushaya.
Yeah, but when we questioned about the Vedas and all, we said that first you find the author, then we'll believe.
Ah,
So the same argument could hold here.
but authoring something and being the source of that knowledge are two different things.
Hmm.
Vedavyasa did author the
Hmm.
Vedas, who converted the Shruti into writing,
Hmm.
but he did not create the knowledge of the Vedas.
Hmm.
He only bifurcated.
Yeah, but here I have a book which I don't know. So what happens is the Vedas, you can trace back the parampara. That Gayatri mantra is from Vishwamitra Rishi. Vishwamitra Rishi has received it from some other Rishi, Madhuchandasa Rishi, and before that it was through some other Rishi all the way till Brahma. So you can trace the parampara of the Veda Shastras at any point of time. The book which I get in my cleaning process, I cannot trace the parampara for it. So that is where, because the parampara cannot be traced, it cannot be accepted as apaurushya. Okay. One more thing. So it's my responsibility when I get anything, I want to declare it as apaurushya. It's my responsibility to demonstrate the parampara of it, through which rishi it is coming, through which parampara it is coming. How did that rishi get? So that parampara should be there for a Vedic version. And one more thing is that Vedas are famous as unwritten. Try to understand this point. It's called akartrakatta prasiddhatvam. It's not that in the search of Vedas we did not find the author, so we are in ignorance of the author. It is well accepted that it doesn't have an author. Yeah, the great sages like great personalities like Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Vishnu Swami, Nimbarkacharya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and even previously great sages like Vashishta, Vishwamitra, Agastya. All these great personalities have accepted that there is no author for the Vedas, they are Anadi. So it is already proved, it is great personalities have accepted it. Now, when you question that Vedas have an author, then it's your responsibility to search for the author. Who wrote it, in what AD or in what BC he wrote it, and what was guiding the society before that. Because we already have lakhs of years of history. Even during the Ramayana, the Vedas were taught. Even before the era of Ramayana, Swayambhu Manu time, also Vedas have been taught. We already have a history of at least a few lakh years. At the beginning of this Kalpa, Lord Hayagriva breathed the Vedas out. So we already have that history of so many lakhs of years. What was there before that? Can we say, okay, prior to this kalpa, then were the Vedas existing prior to this kalpa or no? It's well accepted that they were always there. So we have to search, and it's the responsibility of the scientists who question the Vedas that prove it. Prove that Vedas have an author. So what they are supposed to do is, first they are supposed to study the Vedas. Once they study the Vedas, they are supposed to study the writing style of the Veda. And once they do it, then they should get into the authorship of the Vedas. They should go into the parampara. They should find out the author who has actually written it, and it should stop somewhere. The one important thing with Paurushya Granthas is it stops somewhere. Beyond this, you will not find the proprietorship or authorship or knowership of that. Whereas with the Apaurushya Granthas, it doesn't stop. The parampara just keeps going. So that is the speciality of the Apaurushya parampara. So it is the responsibility of the questioner. So nowadays it has become a fashion to say that the scientific method is very advanced, and traditionally people believed blindly in some books called Vedas. Now, when such statements are made, they are very responsible statements, because when you say that Vedas are not a proof, you should first establish that they are not a proof. They have been authored by somebody who is faulty and who has done mistakes. That is when the version of this scientist can be considered. Now, just if I question the how does a nuclear reactor work, I say nuclear reactor doesn't work, it is bogus, then people will not believe me, right? I should scientifically prove it. I should prove that when you go to nuclear reactor site, when the machine is there, it is not performing, it has faults. I should prove it. That is when it will be accepted. So similarly, there is a system in which this knowledge is flowing. So if we have to question that, first you have to prove it that no, it's not working. So that is where practically everybody fails. Okay, so this is called akartrikatva prasiddhatvam. Akartrikatva prasiddhatvam means Vedas are famous as being unauthored. It is well accepted that they are unauthored. If I am going to question this and say that Vedas are having an author, I should search for that author. Is it clear till now? Any questions till now you can ask, then otherwise we can proceed further. Yes, Dharmeshwar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Prabhu.
Can you hear me, Prabhu?
Yes, I can.
Prabhuji, I have a couple of questions to ask.
Hmm.
So when the Vedas written by the Vedavyas, so we can give that, we can tell them that the authority of the Vedas is Vedavyas. Is it like originally the Vedas are there, but this is one thing, Prabhuji. And the another thing is, when the Vedas are Anadi, when the Vedas are original, eternal, then how come the Vedavyas manifested these Vedas into writing? This is another one, Prabhuji. And also third one, you said like Vedas are Paurusheya and Puranas are Paurusheya. So does it mean that whatever information coming from the Vedas are correct, and when we coined that Puranas are Paurusheya, so how do we believe that these Puranas information, and most of the information coming from the Puranas, and so how can the 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 information that is coming from the Puranas be Paurusheya? So these three things I have, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Could you please?
so regarding your first question of Vedas itself, correct? Vedas are Apaurushya, Vedavyasa wrote it. So Vedavyasa, he got the knowledge in Parampara. He is first the Supreme Lord, this first thing, Narayana, and he got the message in Parampara, and whatever the message is there in Parampara of the Vedas, that he manifested in a written form. Okay, he didn't write anything new which was not there. So this is one thing we should very clearly understand. Even Lord doesn't manipulate the Vedas. He gives it as it is, whatever is there. Okay. So he did not write anything new. So that way you cannot say Vedavyasa is the author of the Vedas. He has just whatever was received in Parampara through Shruti. Shruti means oral reception, hearing. When the Guru says the mantras, the disciple hears Hari Hi Om Sahasra Shirsha Purusha Sahasraksha Sahasrapat Sabomim Vishwato Vritva Atyadishtad Dashangulam. When they say that, the disciple repeats it. He hears and he repeats. So in this way, the oral tradition is going on. That is why it is called Shruti. Considering the situation of Kali Yuga, where it is going to be difficult, the same thing was written down so that you will read and continue the oral tradition still. So Shruti has to be still be received through Shruti only, through hearing only. Just that to make it easy, he brought it in a written form. So he's not the author of the Vedas. This is first thing. Which was our second question?
Yes, Prabhuji. Second question, just a minute.
I will answer your third question till then about Puranas. Okay.
Yes.
You see, one thing is Apaurusha Granthas are one, Sadagamas are another. Sat Agama. So all the four Vedas by default are Sadagamas, means they are reliable sources of knowledge. Nobody can question that. Anything else which is in line with the Vedas is also reliable source of knowledge. If we don't accept that, then whatever we speak cannot be considered reliable. Whatever we speak, if it is according to Vedas, then that also we are accepting as reliable. So similarly, because the Puranas and the Itihasas and the Pancharatras, they are, and Mahabharata and Ramayana, all these are in line with the Vedas. That is why, although being Purusha, they are still Pramanas. So Purusha Vakyas are Pramanas when they are as it is following the Apurusha. If they conflict with Apurusha, then first priority should be given to Apurusha. So if there is a conflict between the Vedas, I'll explain you that. If there is a conflict between Vedas and Puranas, always precedence should be given to Vedas. Veda is the only Pramana. If there is a conflict between two Puranas, it can happen. Then whichever is in line with Vedas has to be accepted, whichever not in line with Vedas has to be rejected. If there is a conflict between two Shruti statements, two Vedic statements, there are there. Atiratre Sholdrusham Grunnami, Natiratre Sholdrusham Grunnami. At one place, it is said the Somapatra has to be held in the hand and drunk in the night. And at another place, it is told it should not be done in the night. So in the Shruti itself, we will discuss that very soon. So there can be conflicts. If there is a conflict within Shruti, you should understand either they are for two different candidates or two different circumstances, but both are genuine. You cannot reject one over the other. That is how you should understand the Shruti and the Smriti connection. Is that clear, Dharmeshwar Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji. I think my second question, I think you have already answered, Prabhuji. My second question was, when the Vedas are Anadi, how did Vedavyas again, right? And for that you have answered.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Any other questions before we proceed further? Okay.
So you told that
Yes, Prabhu, please.
the Aparusaya Grantha never stops. What does that mean?
Apaurusha Grantha, there is no beginning. Nobody has written that. It is there from the beginning and it will be there forever. That is the understanding, Prabhu.
The parampara never stops. We can trace out, no? Like from Lord, it came to some rishi, and
Yes,
then it.
we can trace out from the Lord, but interestingly, it will be beyond that also because even in the previous kalpa, it will be there. This time when Brahma woke up, Lord gave the Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaya Namuyantyam Saurya. In this kalpa, Lord gave the knowledge to Brahma, put it in his heart. But what was there in previous kalpa? Maybe in a different way he did it. Sometimes he gives us Hamsa, sometimes he gives us Hayagriva. So in different forms, sometimes he gives us Matsya. In different kalpas, he gives in different forms.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Prabhuji, in Bhagavatam 2.9.16 purport, it was written that Vedas are 4 different personalities. And before the Shruti was there was only one Veda, it is described, right? There was only one Veda. So how there can be one Veda which was eternal, and then there are 4 Vedas which we read in Bhagavatam that are also eternal?
Very good question. We will, in the next section, it will come, but a little hint I will give it to you. See, Veda means Vidyate Dharma Brahma Cha Veda. Anything which gives us a knowledge of Dharma and Brahma, absolute truth, it is Veda. Okay, so it's actually one whole set. For convenience, Veda Vyasa divided it into Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, Atharvana Veda. So let's say there is some Shikshashtaka. Now, for convenience, somebody wants to divide it as first 4 shlokas and next 4 shlokas into two different sections and give it in 2 different classes. He can do it. Or if he takes 2 shlokas each and gives it in 4 different classes, he can do it. So, similarly, there is one full body called Vedas that is divided into different sections by Veda Vyasa for convenience.
Okay, Prabhuji, but that can be same personality or different personality, that I'm not yet clear.
Okay, so this question I am also not clear, but definitely yes, the personalities are clearly different as it's mentioned in Krishna book when they come and personified Vedas come and pray. The Veda itself, there are 4 Vedas and each Veda has further divisions like Ashtakas and Mandalas and each of them has Suktas. So there are different ways of dividing the Vedas and which personality manifests which part of the Vedas, I'm not clear. I will definitely check that and I will try to get back.
Okay.
Anything else? Else we'll proceed further. Okay, so now Buddhists, they don't sit quiet after hearing all these things. What they say is that, what are you saying? Vedas are something very great and eternal and all. There are so many faults, so many mistakes in the Vedas. Vedas have 3 doshas basically. Anritattva, Vyaghata and Punarokti dosha. Anritattva means Vedas communicate false message. Okay. And Vyaghata means self-defeating messages. At one place it says one and elsewhere it says something opposite. And Punarokti means there is a repetition. So there are these 3 problems in the Vedas, they say. So what is Anritattva? What is false thing? In Vedas it is said that you do Putra Kameshti Yajna and you will get a child. We have seen so many people who do Putra Kameshti Yajna and they don't get children. So Vedas are not working, they are false. So how can we accept them as something perfect? Then yeah, we have seen yajnas happen and they don't work. Then second is Vyaghata, self conflicting. Somewhere it is said, I just told Atiratre Sholdusham Grundami, Natre Sholdusham Grundami. The Somapatra, the vessel which is used to drink Somarasa, it should not be held in the hand during the day. It's one at one. It should not be. It should be held in the hand during night. It's mentioned at one place. Elsewhere, it's mentioned it should not be held during the night in the hand. Then Udite Juhoti, Anudite Juhoti. At one place, it's mentioned that yajna should be performed during the day. Elsewhere, it's said yajna should be performed in the night. So they are conflicting. They're conflicting on their own. And Punarokti, what is this? Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Why do you want to say 3 times Shanti? If you just say Om Shanti, will it not bring Shanti? Will it not bring peace? Why Vedas are repeating? I mean, those who are not so sane will repeat things. So people who are with sanity, they don't have repetition. So there are so many faults in this Vedas. How can we consider them perfect? So this is the argument of the Purva Paksha. So Purva Paksha argument is clear for everyone.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. Now the Uttar Paksha, what they say is that, what is the first point? First point is Andatatva. The Putra Kameshti Yajna is done, result Putra is not happening. See, there are so many factors contributing to Putra Kameshti Yajna. First of all, you should have the right samagri, right material. You should choose the right muhurta. You should choose the right priest, and you should chant the right mantras. And the karta himself should be sinless. So many factors decide. How can you say that you are actually doing the yajna properly? Is there any guarantee that you are doing the yajna properly? So can you prove it that yes, I have done this so and it is done 100% perfectly? Who is the decision maker? How can you decide? So that doesn't work. So you cannot bring fault in the Vedas. It can be fault in the Karta. It's clearly the fault in the Karta because people do mistakes. No doubt about that. So this Andhatattva doesn't work. Similarly, Vyagata. Okay, Udite Jyoti, Anudite Jyoti. During the day you have to do yajna. Somewhere else it's mentioned during the night. They are for two different people and for two different circumstances. Why want to bring all of them in different circumstances? Vedas is a big body, and for different people in different circumstances, the different things work. Okay, but how will you explain Punarokti, repetition? Now, don't you have repetition in day-to-day dealings? Will I not say, have you understood, Prabhu? Sorry, sorry. Will I not say, have you understood? Have you understood? Sometimes I don't say receive a response. I once again ask, have you understood? I do ask, right? So in our day-to-day dealings, also we have punarokti. Do we reject the person as pramana just because he repeats the things? And anyway, students are accustomed to repeating. When mantra is being taught to students, he has to repeat it. So for abhyasa, repetition is also a part of it. So there are various reasons why punarokti is there. So these things doesn't dismiss Veda as a pramana. Okay. Now, somebody may argue that, see, you are saying Purusha dosha. This is a very critical point to understand this point that there are four defects, Purusha doshas, which are they committing mistakes, tend to be illusioned, imperfect senses, and cheating propensity. Brahma pramada vipralipsa karna patam. Okay, we have all these defects because we are sinful people. We are papi. We have done a lot of papa in our past life, so we have these four doshas. Now, somebody like Buddha doesn't have that. He is free from papa sins. He is a perfect soul, free from defects. So, why he should not be accepted as a pramana? Believe him. He is a great person. Now, this paksha can be, instead of Buddha, you can substitute anybody. The Jainas will substitute as Jina. Their Guru Jina is there, he is perfect. So whatever he says can be accepted. Why we have to study Vedas separately? Patanjali will say, followers of Patanjali will say, yeah, Patanjali is perfect. Followers of Manu will say, Manu is perfect. Now, somebody may say Shankaracharya is perfect. Somebody may say Ramanujacharya is perfect. Somebody say Madhacharya is perfect. Our Ritvik friends are saying Prabhupada is perfect. So everyone is saying that our so and so is perfect, and we don't need the Vedas. Whatever is uh, accepted by Pramanas, Shruti Pramanas, that is to be accepted. Raja Vinod Prabhu, you wanted to say something?
Sorry, Prabhu. Not only the Ritviks, we are also saying Prabhupada is perfect.
Yeah, I want to come to that at the end of this session. Okay, we will have some discussion on that. Maybe it will go to debate also. It will be interesting. So, the argument that this person, whatever he says, will be accepted. We don't want to consult Shastras. We don't want to study books. We don't want to do anything deep into it. I will just accept what somebody says. The Shiksha Guru says, the temple president says, my senior devotee says, my so and so says. I'll just accept it as pramana. I will not take the effort of studying Shastra myself. So that idea is understood through this Buddhist thought that Buddha is perfect. Let me accept Buddha. I will not get into other pramana. I don't need Vedas for this. See, one thing you should understand is that when I say something, if although I will have the best of the thoughts in the mind, I can sometimes say out of joke. Sometimes I can say out of some other mood. I can say that, and we definitely do a hierarchy of pramanas in what person says. Rukmini, when Krishna says, "You just leave me and go," she did not accept it as Paramavakya, saying this is perfect, I should just follow it. Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitte Te Kuriyaki. She protested that, right? Because there is something inside differently. Now, this thing cannot happen with Vedas because they are, what is that? They are not that human pramanas, which can joke or which can tell in a different mood. That is the difference which is pointed out here, that Apurusha are more pramana because this anything related to Purusha will not be there in this Apurusha. So in Buddha it can be there, and Buddha did demonstrate in his thing that he did say Vedas are apramana, Vedas are not evidence. So it can happen with great personalities, whereas with the scriptures it cannot happen. So that is why the scriptures are considered superior pramana. Okay. Now the Nayayikas, what they say is that Ishvara is a pramana, Lord is a pramana. Why just accept the Vedas as pramana? Let's accept Lord also as a pramana. Now this is challenging. How many of you agree with this stand that Vedas are also pramana and Lord is also pramana?
So we already told that Lord is Keval Praman at one place.
Sorry, Lord is?
Keval Praman.
No,
We
no.
already accepted.
Kevala pramana, Ishvara Pratyaksha, when the Supreme Lord sees, he gets the knowledge perfectly. When he does Pratyaksha, he gets the knowledge perfectly. Here we are speaking of us relying on the pramana.
Oh, okay.
So, yes, Ojasvi Krishna Prabhu, you have something?
No, I just saying we cannot accept that
Hmm.
Ishvara as a pramana,
Hmm.
because in that there is cause and effect. Because the Ishvara is seeing something, that's the cause, and the effect is that he's understanding from that.
Hmm.
And so hence, because it's cause and effect, it again comes down to duality. Because but in the case of the Supreme Lord, the cause is
Yes.
the effect.
So it causes the effect. So how will you explain that?
That means that it is not that there is that a point comes where he sees something and then he understands. He seeing itself he understands.
Hmm. That is agreed. That point is there. But interestingly, if you see, as Buddha and Vrishabhadeva, when he incarnated, then they created a set of followers who are not Vedic also, right? Being the Supreme Lord themselves, being the Avesha of the Lord or being the Supreme Lord, they themselves had followers who did not follow that, the pure Vedic path. Correct. So that is because the tendency that the followers can get into Brahma and all is there whenever there is a Purusha. Whereas with Shabda Pramana, that will not happen. Okay. So that is why the Vedas are independent Pramana. Even Ishvara doesn't claim, or the Supreme Lord doesn't claim authorship of the Veda. This is going to be debatable. Okay, I'm open for more discussion on this, but what Ramanujacharya and what Madhvacharya agree, and that is also indicated in the Sanskrit Mula of this Vedānta Syamantaka. That let me open that. So the point here is that even the Lord doesn't claim authorship of the Vedas because it's anadi, eternal. So that is why they are always existing, and Lord is the medium who is transporting this from one kalpa to another. So that way they become the most neutral. Okay, so just a minute. You see here the Moola Vedānta Syamantaka. तदेवं सर्वतः श्रेष्ठै शब्दस्य स्थिते तत्त्वनिर्णायकस्तु श्रुतिलक्षण एव न तु आर्षलक्षणः अपि. So Nirnayaka is the Shruti Lakshana, not the Arsha Lakshana. The deciding factor will be, whenever there is a conflict, the deciding factor will be the Shruti, the Vedas, not the Rishis. नावेदवित् मनुते तम बृहंतम औपनिषदम पुरुषम पृच्छामि इत्यादि श्रुतिभ्यः. Means what it mentions here is that it's the Upanishads or the Shrutis, the Vedas, which are considered as the supreme pramana. You cannot consider the Rishi opinions of the sages as a pramana. Rishinam mithe vivada darshanena tad vakyanam tad nirnayakatva asambhavat. Because the sages have difference of opinions, they will have different, even most topmost of the sages, they will definitely have some difference of opinion. And because of their differences of opinion, their opinions cannot be taken as the pramana, topmost pramana. It is the words of the Vedas that are themselves taken as pramana. And nityaha shruti shabdaha. These Shruti Vakyas are Nitya. Vacha Virupa Nitya iti Shravanat. They can be understood only by hearing and they are themselves eternal. So, because the Vedas are eternal, they don't have a creator, that makes them most neutral. And because they are most neutral, they have to be accepted. That is the understanding here. Okay, but somebody argues that Vedas are composed of suktas. Suktas are composed or are made of sentences or vakyas, and vakyas are made of shabdas. And shabda is anitya. When I say Ishvara, this word which I said was not existing before. When I said, it came through my mouth. So similarly, when the shabda is anitya, then the sentences from that is anitya, then the suktas are anitya, so the whole Vedas become anitya. That's how somebody argues. If you see, Shabdas are not anitya. For example, when you see a person Devadatta in Kashi, and after meeting him in Kashi, years later you meet him in Kanchi, what will you say? So I am Devadatta. He is the same Devadatta whom I had seen in Kashi. So it's the same person who has come here. Body might have changed slightly, but it's the same person who has come here. Correct. Similarly, words which were used for Vedas in previous Kalpa, the same words are used even now. So it's the same words that are manifest once again. And interestingly, when it comes to Vedas, there is no sequence alteration. In Sanskrit grammar, Ramaha Vanam Gacchati, I can say. At the same time, I can say Vanam Ramaha Gacchati. Gacchati Ramaha Vanam. Gacchati Vanam Ramaha. I can change the order because vibhaktis are tied along with the words. So anyway, I change the order, meaning doesn't change. Now, taking that as an advantage, I cannot change the Vedas. Sahasra, Shirsha, Purusha, the sequence, I cannot change it in a different way. So, in the previous Kalpa of Brahma, or 100 Kalpas before, or 100 Brahmas before, the Purusha Sukta was in the same sequence, or the Shri Sukta was in the same sequence. The sequence is not altered. And at the end of the this Kalpa, when there is devastation, when there is Pralaya, all those Vedas go and sit in the brain of Vishnu. And through the next day, they will again be manifested through his mouth. So in this way, what happens is the Shrutis are always manifest and unmanifest, but they are not Anitya, they are always Nitya. There are different rishis for different Shrutis. So somebody says, what is this? If the Vedas are eternal, why there are so many rishis? Before chanting any mantra, you have to have the habit of chanting the rishi, then chanda, then some other things like that. We have to chant. So
Devata.
Sukta, Chanda, Devata, yes, very good. So Devata you have to chant. So all these things we have to chant before chanting. So which is this Rishi then, if Vedas don't have a creator? Now these are the Rishis to whom the Vedas are revealed, Gochara. Revelations happens to the great personalities. So when Vishwamitra was doing great tapasya and meditation, the Gayatri mantra was revealed to him. When the Madhuchandasa Rishi, he was doing great meditation and tapasya, that is when the Agni Sukta, Vayu Sukta, Ashwini Sukta, all those suktas were revealed to him. So like that, these Vedas are revealed to the Rishis, they are not the authors. And why they are revealed to them? Because in the past life, they would have received it in parampara from their guru. That is why these are revealed to them. Now, this will open a market of people that saying that, oh, this is revealed knowledge to me. I got this as a revelation. So for that also there is, you cannot do like that. Because in Brahmanda Purana there is a shloka. Vimshal Lakshanatu Nuna Tapasvi Bahu Vedavid Veda Ityevayam Pashet Savedo Jnana Darshanat. There are 64 qualities of perfected human beings. Uh, then all 64 qualities we know are manifest in the Supreme Lord. At least 20 qualities should be manifest properly. Then they are having eligibility. Means 20 qualities should be manifested. Along with that, they should be tapasvi. They should know Vedas. They should know many Vedas. A lot of knowledge they should have. And when all such qualities are there, such a sage, if he says that, oh, this knowledge is coming in parampara, then it could be accepted that, okay, this is a revelation. Okay, so these sages were at that level, and that is why these Vedas are revealed to them. So these Apaurusha Vedas are the ultimate pramana. Nothing is more perfect than Vedas. Then the question comes about authorship of the Apaurusha Vedas, because this is slightly conflicting. There are two pakshas. One paksha says that Lord Sri Krishna or Lord Vishnu is Sarva Karana Karanam, cause of all causes. He is the cause of all causes, he is the cause of Vedas also. It's one paksha. Whereas one more paksha says that he is not the cause of all Vedas, because Vedas are eternal. Okay, so there is some difference of opinion in this regard, and somehow the tendency to push towards Vishnu being the cause is there. But if you see, in the Mahabharata Tatparnirnaya, Madhvacharya explains this quite nicely. He mentions that there are four types of srishtis, creations. One is called Shuddha Srishti, another is called Paradhina Visheshavapti Srishti. Paradhina Visheshavapti Srishti. Third is called Mishra Srishti, and fourth is called Kevala Srishti. It's not that all creations are of same types. When Supreme Lord manifests himself as Pradyumna, Aniruddha, Shankarshana and Vasudeva, the four quadruple expansions. So that expansions, each expansion is Vishnu Tattva only. It is pure Vishnu. We will see when we come to Ishvara Prameya. That time we'll discuss this in detail. But you should never think that that Vishnu original and who is manifest later on are different or less powerful or more. They are all Supreme Lord only. So that Srishti is called Shuddha Srishti, where the different Vishnu forms don't lose their power. They are all same person. You cannot discriminate between them. So that is called Shuddha Srishti. Now, Paradhina Vishesha Vapti Srishti is for those which are eternal, still somehow connected with the Lord. For example, Vedas. Vedas are eternal. But in every kalpa, whatever package we need, because Vedas are unlimited, for that circumstance, whatever package is needed, that much package the Lord breathes out. and gives. So this special form which is manifested in this kalpa for us, that is Lord is the cause for that. But the eternal Vedas, Lord is not the cause. He has just selected the sections and given to us. That is how Lord is in charge of the Vedas. He is, you can say in a way that he has given us the Vedas and is the Karana for the Vedas. But he is not the Karana in the sense that one day he sat and wrote and before that it did not exist. Similarly, for Jivas, for Mahalakshmi, for Jivas, they are either conditioned or liberated. Conditioned Jivas want to enjoy. So this enjoyment tendency cannot come independent of the Lord. The Jivas could have contamination, but then facilities for the Jiva has to be manifested by the Lord only. No? So the desire to be a Jiva will be given by the Lord only. So that way, the Lord is also the creator of the Jiva in the sense that he did not sit and assemble devices and created a soul. He created the desire of Jivatva. Either I have to enjoy independently or I have to serve the Lord. That tendency to desire and the facilities for the desire were created by the Lord. That is the point. It's not that he had sat and created the jivas the way he creates stone or wood or mud like that. Similarly, Mahalakshmi Devi. Mahalakshmi Devi is also, she is not created, she is also eternal with the Lord. But Lakshmi has the Lakshmitva, the tendency to take care of all living entities in a motherly fashion. So that desire to take care in a motherly fashion, that was manifest in her by the mercy of the Lord. So in this way, the Lord is responsible for them, but at the same time, he did not create the physical sources, physical souls, or he did not create the physical Vedas. So Vedas are eternal, just that Lord acts as a medium in this kalpa to give whatever necessary for us. So that way he is the Karana for that. Similarly, Mishra Srushti. Mishra Srushti means Jivas taking bodies, living entities based on their desires take different 34 lakh species of bodies. So that is Mishra Srushti. And Kevala Srushti is the physical universe, the dead universe matter which is created. That is Kevala Srushti. So these are the four different ways in which they are there. So we cannot at any point of time say that Lord created these Vedas. So if we understand this one point that Lord doesn't have the authorship of the Vedas, that makes the Vedas neutral. Neutral means free from all the Purusha connection. And that is when they become the most reliable source to understand the Paramasatya. It is also mentioned, Nave Davin Manute Tan Brahantam. Taittiriya Brahmana says, one who does not know the Vedas does not know the Supreme. So, to know the Supreme, we have to know the Vedas. Kathopanishad says, Naisha Tarkena Matirapane. You cannot know the Supreme Lord by logic. You have to know through the Vedas only. And Veda Pramana is Swata Siddha. It's on its own. It doesn't require any external proof or external evidence to prove that. So that is where this becomes most perfect. Now, there is one more thing connected to it. Okay, initially there was a question of authorities and all those things. So the authorities in the parampara never claim themselves to be giving something new different from the Vedas. You see the stand of Prabhupada in the introduction to Bhagavad Gita. He says, if we have any credit in the matter, what is that?
I have just said it as it is.
Yes, I have repeated the message what we have received from my spiritual master in the parampara. So every spiritual master just wants to take this credit that whatever we are doing, we are just repeating the parampara. We are not giving anything new. So actions that you see Prabhupada has done, if you trace it out back in the Shastras, you will definitely find reference to that. And Prabhupada himself, if you see the Bhakti Vedanta purports, everywhere either he has mentioned Kathopanishad, he has mentioned Mundokopanishad, he has mentioned Brahma Sutras, so many pramanas, he just speaks with pramanas. He doesn't speak saying that I am the spiritual master, just believe me. He speaks everything with Shastra pramanas. Is special. It's a very unique style of writing. Even the Vaishnava bhajans that he has composed two famous Vaishnava bhajans. And in both there is a pramana from Bhagavatam. Shrunvatam Sokada Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana. So pramana sahita he speaks always. So the speciality, the character, the ability of a person to speak the truth is judged by how much he repeats in the parampara. Recently, there was this debate of Ritvikism, and the point is that we have this some July letter and some August letter and all those things which are all considered as Parama Pramana. We don't require to study any Shruti, any Shastra, no tradition, nothing. We have this letter and that's it. How can a Mahabhagavata be wrong? So, interestingly, our argument in this regard was that the letters which Prabhupada gave to promote Ritvikism, it can be interpreted in two different ways. One way is that as long as he exists on this planet, he will continue to be the spiritual master and the others who do yajnas are his representatives. And the other interpretation is that no, forever he will be. In that also there are people who say that maybe in 1,000 years somebody will come who will replace, but till then he will be. Then there's others who say that this is permanent. Okay, but either way, it is beyond the physical lifetime of the person, is what this is. If you see what Prabhupada did during his time by engaging the representatives, the pratinidhis, to give yajna, to give diksha, perform yajnas, and give the names. If we trace back to Shastra, there are so many references in Shastras where it is authorized to do that a Ritvik is employed, a priest is employed for performing yajnas. You do Navagraha Homa, you do Graha Pravesha Shanti Homa, there will do so many things where a Yajamana will be there, a priest will be there. So the priest will be employed to perform the yajna. Correct. Whereas there is no Shastric reference that autonomously a priest can be employed for performing yajnas. So the second argument that this will continue forever or it will continue post disappearance and all, that doesn't have a Shastra Pramana. Practically everything that Prabhupada did, everything that he allowed in Krishna conscious movement, everything that he did, if you trace back, definitely you will get a Pramana for that. But what we imagine based on his teachings and all, it's our responsibility to provide Shruti and Smriti Pramanas also. You cannot say that I take a few sentences from the Acharya and say that this is the supreme Parama because it's coming from Mahabhagavata. So no more question, this has to be accepted. It has to have reference to Shruti, it has to have reference to Parampara, it has to have a reference to Sadachara tradition. That is when the whole thing becomes acceptable. So when we say, like Prabhuji said, when we say we are accepting Prabhupada as free from defects, uh, it's not debatable at all. There is no debate in that. But I would like to exercise some caution in this regard. The caution that I would like to exercise is that the chooser of Prabhupada's quotes is myself only, and there is no Prabhupada to physically evaluate that you are not choosing the right code, you are not taking it in the right context. When there is a personal relationship between Guru and Shishya, the Guru can twist the ear of the disciple and say that no, this is not the right way to accept it, this is the right way to accept it. That can happen. Whereas in these circumstances, it cannot happen. Whereas with Shruti, that is not an issue because with Shruti, it's all given there and it has to be accepted. Of course, spiritual master is required to understand Shruti. There is no doubt about that. Without spiritual master, the parampara of Shruti will not come. I cannot just read a book and come. It has to be through the parampara. And because the parampara is there, parampara has its own value. Means there is a Shravana Vidhi and there is a Guru Prasada, satisfaction of spiritual master. These two things are very mandatory to get any knowledge from the Shastras. So one must balance this Guru Sadhu Shastra. Means I should sufficiently hear from the spiritual master and I should satisfy the spiritual master. These are required, there is no doubt. And satisfaction is there when there is a physical contact or when there is a manifest presence. In the unmanifest presence, when the spiritual master is unmanifest physically, we don't know how this satisfaction will work. It has not been tried in the past. There is no record in Shastras or in Itihasa that anybody has tried this satisfaction of spiritual master in physical absence. That is one thing. And along with the hearing from spiritual master, there should also be Shastric study. And there should be hearing from other sadhus. So when there is a Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, 3-track, that is when things will go properly. When the railway train has to go, it runs on 2 tracks. Yeah, just on 1 track it cannot run. It will cause an accident. Similarly, the Shastra Jnana should be on 3 tracks, the track of Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. So that is when the knowledge will flow properly and the understanding will be proper. So this is a very critical point we have to understand in this regard. Yes, Prabhuji. So these are some things associated with Veda and Shruti as a Swata Pramana. Okay, so that is why Apaurusha takes a major edge over Paurushya Granthas. So when we say Buddha is perfect or Patanjali is perfect or our own spiritual master is perfect and somebody is perfect, they are perfect in as much as they are repeating the Shruti. Correct. If there is a issue with repetition of the Shruti, then the knowledge, the self-revealing knowledge is not coming properly through this medium. Just like if there is a fault in the eyes, then the knowledge of things will not come properly. Sometimes there is a kacha roga, it's called in Shastra. Everything appears shining because of fault in eyes. So because everything appears shining, we are not getting the right understanding of the object that we have in front of us. Similarly, if the Madhyama, if the Guru is having some problem, is not repeating the mantra or not repeating the message of the parampara, then there will be issues. So that is why the Guru, Sadhu, Shastras have to be considered together. And in that, the Apaurushyatva of the Vedas should be held in high esteem. They should always be given precedence over the Purushas. That is the understanding we can derive from this. It is also argued by some that I told you that the Purusha is more perfect, and when the Purusha says Vedas and all should not be consulted, or you may say it in a more soft way that he is repeating the message of Vedas only. How can he be faulty? How can he be defective? But yeah, all that is there. But then when you say something, it can, as I told you earlier, it's not that everything is told seriously as an instruction. Sometimes some things are told as a joke. Sometimes some things are told contextually for one person, which are not applicable to another person. All these things can happen with Purushas, which will not happen with Apaurusha. That is why Apaurusha is considered Parama Prabhana above. Any questions in this regard, we can discuss. Dharmeshwar Prabhu, yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes.
You said the Vedas are eternal and the Supreme Lord is also eternal. So can we understand like this, the Jivas are also eternal and the Supreme Lord is also eternal. There was no point of time that the Lord has created the Jivatma.
Yes.
And at the same time, the Vedas also part of the Lord, but at the same time, they are not independent of the Supreme Lord.
Yes.
Just like the Jivas, they are part of the Supreme Lord, but they are never independent of the Supreme Lord, because the Jivas are also energy of the Lord, and the Lord is himself is energetic. So
The Lord is energetic, the Jivas, the Vedas, everything, Jada, everything is dependent on the Lord. It's not independent of the Lord. And in that sense, it is connected to the Lord. So it cannot be separate from Him. But they were not at point of time created, and before that they did not exist. It is not like that.
So these are eternally dependent on the Lord. Everything is dependent on the Lord, including the Vedas.
Yes, correct.
Right, Proj?
Yes.
This is one thing. And Proj, so the Vedas are as you said in the beginning of the session, it is common, wherever for example, like you give some examples. So in one kalpa, the Lord, depending on the circumstances, He gives to that extent, to the extent that is applicable to people in that kalpa. So He gives.
Yes.
And He gives in a form like Hayagriva, you said. So we can understand in that way. These are eternal, but at the same time, the Lord comes and He gives in the form of different ways.
Yes, yes, correct. That is why you see Karma Kand is also referred to Vedas. The Advaitins also refer to Vedas. The Dvaitins, Vishishtadvaitins, everyone has a common, Veda is common in them.
Yes, Prabhuji. And my second thing is, like, when these are eternal and when they are at one point of time they are manifesting in the physical form. So why do we say that it is Shabda Pramana or Shruti? Why do we use these terms when they are
Shruti means
actually
hearing.
manifested in
See,
the physical form?
no, it's not that physical form or something. Vedas are always there, and the form that is essential that is given to us. Shruti means it is coming through hearing in the parampara. So Shabda or Shruti means the same, that it is coming in the parampara. So that is why these words are used.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Apurva Damodar Prabhu, you had a question.
Yeah, hi Krishna. Prabhuji, I have two questions. One is that if we say Vedas are perfect, there are Purushas, but currently, like, in ISKCON also, we basically treat Srimad Bhagavatam, as sort of the ultimate authority, sort of, and plus, we don't have Vedas also right now in our possession, and we don't even study them. And we sort of regard Srimad Bhagavatam shloks as absolute. And but, like, the factors which you are mentioning, there are certain shloks like, Krishna Rukmani. You mentioned there some joking is also going on, and some other things are going on. So, Prabhuji, how do we take this practically? And my second question is, Prabhu, you were saying that once Guru is not present in the physical world, then we don't know that we are either satisfying him or not. But in we continuously hear these kinds of stories that Guru came in the dream and he instructed something, or maybe he is happy or so. So how do we understand this, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji. So your first question of Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is a Paurusha Grantha because it was manifest by Veda Vyasa. But as I told you, because Srimad Bhagavatam doesn't conflict with the Vedas, it gives the message of Vedas as it is. That is why it is a Parama Pramana, it's a perfect Pramana. Srimad Bhagavatam Purana Mamalam. The speciality of Bhagavatam is that it holds up pure devotional service. So it is meant for those who are on the topmost order of the yoga ladder. Arurukshor Munir Yoga Karma Karana Muchate Yoga Rudasya Taisaiva Shama Karana Muchate. So there are some who are in the lower rung of the yoga ladder where they are performing karma. Then next level they are performing jnana. Then they come to the level of yoga, and finally they come to the level of bhakti. So, Bhagavatam is one such grantha which doesn't compromise on this. It is only for the level of bhakti. That is what makes it higher in that sense. However, after studying Bhagavatam, when you study back the Vedas, with that understanding, you will get that from it, pure devotional service from it. So there is no varjita, or there is no rejection of study of Vedas. The devotees in the Gaudiya Vaishnava line have got it wrongly in the sense that they think that Vedas are something which are bad, karma kanda not to be touched or something like that. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Traigunya Vishaya Veda, Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna. He says Vedas deal with three modes, no doubt about that. So you give up three modes. He doesn't say you give up Vedas. He says you give up three modes, but you should continue the study of Vedas, because he further clarifies that in the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. What he says is that Atosmi loke vedesha praticha purushottama yo mam eva sammudo janati purushottama sa sarva sarva bhavena mam bhajati. Means any chapter of Vedas you study, you are going to understand the Supreme Lord only. You are not going to understand anybody else. So there is no knowledge other than Supreme Lord in the Vedas. Just that because our knowledge is not perfect, we have not understood the Bhagavatam, which is, see, Vedas are summarized in Brahma Sutras. And Bhagavatam is a natural commentary on the Brahma Sutras. So once you study natural commentary on Brahma Sutras, when you study the Vedas back, you will get the understanding in the right order. But that doesn't mean that you are condemned to study the Vedas. When you can see in every page there is Krishna, then it's the essential for human society. So Vedas are definitely needed for human society, but just that they have to be studied with the right understanding. So that right understanding is given through the commentary of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Does that make sense, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes. And you had asked another question, which I forgot.
Yes, Savji. Regarding Guru, you were saying that, when Guru is physically present, then only we can understand. But
In his
sometimes,
absence, sometimes there are dreams and all. The problem with dreams and all is they are not verifiable. I mean, if I say that yesterday Guru Maharaj came in my dream, but you cannot verify it. Okay. Yes, by law of nature, there will be circumstances when a person's spiritual master is not physically present. But at least when he was physically present, he would have received instructions. The instructions, the message, the Shruti, the message of Parampara, which he would have received when physically present, he will continue to follow them. And along with that, consult other sadhus and take their direction and follow them and study Shastras himself and follow them. So that anugraha, that blessing of the Parampara will continue because of that. So that is the test of whether we are progressing or not. These things may be unverifiable.
okay.
Prabhuji, one follow-up question.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, when we use the word Paurushaya, so we tend to use this word in a use it for like human beings and all, right? Because they have 4 defects and all. But
You have asked a very good question.
but the Puranas, when we use
Prabhu,
the
can you
word
please repeat the question?
Paurushaya,
Sorry, I could not hear.
Yeah. So what Dharmeshwar Prabhu is asking is that when we say Paurushaya, that means refers to human beings because human beings are defective, human beings are having 4 defects. Okay. So whereas Puranas are written by great personalities like Veda Vyasa. So how can you consider Puranas as Paurushaya? Is this clear, the question?
Yes, Prabhu, thank you.
Now, there are versions of the majority and there are the versions of others also. There are 2 interpretations of it. I'll explain both the interpretations. The one interpretation of the majority is that anything which comes from God is Aborusya. Anything which comes from human beings with 4 defects is Paurusya. Not just God, even great personalities are also free from 4 defects. So whatever they say is there. That is one version, that is one interpretation. And with this interpretation, then practically everything becomes Apaurusha. Vedas become Apaurusha, the Puranas become Apaurusha, the words of great personalities become Apaurusha, practically everything becomes Apaurusha. And if I am saying, now I am giving this class, so then you have to evaluate whether I am Apaurusha or whether I am Apaurusha. Whether I am Paurusha or Apaurusha, you have to evaluate that because it could be that half of my class was Apaurusha. Then I fell down, I suddenly saw something and I fell down and suddenly my words became Apaurusha, sorry. So all these conflicts, all these confusions are there. When I studied the works of Madhvacharya and Ramanujacharya and the Mula, the original Sanskrit in this book, Vedānta Syamantaka also, I got a different understanding. What understanding I got was that Vedas are eternal, not even created by the Lord. That is why they are Apaurushya. Anything which is created by somebody will have Purusha doshas. And this Purusha doshas was manifested even by Supreme Lord. It was manifested for a particular purpose, you can say, as Buddha. It was manifested for a particular purpose. Okay, purpose may be there, but still, today, I cannot take Buddha as a reference to reject the Vedas. He says Veda apramana. I cannot take him as a reference to reject the thing as apramana. So, it is the Supreme Lord, but still we are taking a decision, we are taking a thought that it may not be this. So, whenever something is coming from a Purusha, better evaluate it with Apurusha. That is when it makes it more perfect. Else, a Purusha can say out of joke, a Purusha can say a passing comment or something like that. So, there is years later when the Purusha passes away. He may be an extraordinary great soul, a very pure devotee. But after he passes away, if just this quote comes, which is told out of joke or something like that, then it can be misguiding, right? To considering all these factors, Lord himself did not take responsibility of the authorship of the Vedas. He kept it as neutral and unauthored, so that there is something which is neutral and common. So this is the understanding I have derived after consulting the works of Madhvacharya and Ramanujacharya in this regard. So We can discuss this more, we can debate on this also if required, but this seems to be more logical than opening the door for all Purusha Vakyas also as Apurusha. What do you all think?
I agree, Prabhu. Sounds logical.
Problem with us is that we are always believing in Apta Vakya. What my mother says, what my father says, what my friend says, what my so and so says. We also expect when I say that my son must follow, my husband must follow, my wife must follow, when I am saying that. So the Purusha connection is very, very strong in our heart. So even on spiritual lines also, we want more of a Purusha connection, that he should say, then I will accept. More than Shastra should say, he should say, then I will accept. That Purusha connection is very strong. But Shastras are teaching us that we should move from the Purusha connection to Apaurushaya connection. That is when it will be more strong. And our founder Acharya always emphasized this, that we are repeating the message of the Parampara. Consult the Shastras. Shastras are more perfect. So that understanding seems more logical. Ojasvi Krishna Prabhu, you have something to add in this.
So I may sound controversial in what I'm saying. So are you saying that Prabhupada is Paurusha Praman, where he has defects?
When I say Narayana is the Purusha Pramana, what do you think? Point you should understand is that I know some statements can get controversial. Okay, very careful to handle these statements. But the point here is that Prabhupada never manifested any defects in his life. That is quite clear. But he always wanted us to have Shruti Pradhanya, Shruti as prominent, not the person as prominent. Correct? Because the person I said, even he might not have sins, he might not have done sins in his life, or he might not be telling lies in his life. Maybe all these things are there. There are such perfect beings who are not doing like this. Okay, but now based on Prabhupada, I can also say that Prabhu, I have also reached that level where I can do that. This becomes little dicey. That is why Acharyas don't step on that, saying that, okay, I am that Pramana. I am that perfect person, so follow me. Even if they are on the perfect stage, still they follow the parampara, saying that you follow the parampara, not the perfect person. Whether Prabhupada has overcome four defects, not overcome four defects, is a different question. The route that he has showed us, the path that he has showed us, is the message of the parampara, not believing the individual.
Prabhuji, but he also said that my books are going to be the law books for the next 10,000 years.
Why is that? Because the books are repeating the Vedas.
Correct.
They are not
So
independent.
in that sense, to that extent, because he's repeating, of course, I agree with your initial point. I completely agree that not everything which Prabhupada said, put contextually or out of context, might be applicable for us. That we have the responsibility of identifying and verifying with the Shruti. There is no doubt about that. But in what the current point is that we are considering Prabhupada's words as perfect, whatever is written.
Yeah, my point is that we are considering Prabhupada's words as perfect on one level, that it is blind faith, that it is my spiritual master or my grand spiritual master. But if you go to the next level, you will understand that why it is perfect, because he has quoted Shruti, he has quoted Smriti, he has quoted Pramanas, Mahabharata, Brahma Sutras. Because he has quoted that, they become perfect. That is my point here.
Understood, Prabhu.
Ojasvi Krishna Prabhu, you are satisfied with this explanation? You want to add something?
Hare Krishna. Yeah, I'm kind of satisfied. I have to ponder on it actually, to be honest.
Yes, Prabhuji. So let's discuss more. I am still open for that. I told you the two pakshas, and we are all learning the subject. So it can happen that the other paksha also can be strong. The mula here, if you see the original Sanskrit, that still doesn't indicate that to me. It still indicates that the apurusha is swatantra from the purusha. So we can still discuss more on this. We can do more research.
Prabhuji, in the initial part of this today's class, when you were saying at the end of this class we might even debate or even get into an argument, I was hoping that you will start an argument with saying that Prabhupada is not perfect. But your words did not say that. You just said that responsibility lies in us to identify the context of his statements.
One more thing is that Prabhupada is perfect because he has not manufactured. He has
Correct.
repeated.
Yes, yes, yes.
It's not
See,
perfect because of the individual bodily features or the communication skills or the intellect.
correct,
It's perfect because of the repetition of the message.
correct.
No,
That
but this
is,
can also be contested, Raja Vinod Prabhu. This can also be contested by those who are emotionally attached to the person than the parampara. So that is where
I understood your point. I mean, for me, that doesn't matter so much. Maybe it's individual, but I understand where you're coming from. I completely agree. But whatever Prabhupada said, if there are any, like I just finished reading the Jiva Fall and Jiva No Fall, both the papers. One from, I think, Uttama Shloka Prabhu and one from Dhruta Karma Prabhu. Both of them are so nicely written. Like, it's like anyone with a good skill to write and synthesize arguments can convince at least half of the people that their argument is correct. So
in
in
this
that
regard,
sense,
if you try to study Paradina Visheshwapti concept a little more, try to do some
okay,
research on that. That will solve many of these achintya questions. Lot of
okay.
things we ultimately leave on the achintya.
Can you please repeat what you want me to study?
Paradhina Visheshavapti, the concept which Madhacharya explained very beautifully. If you try to study that, okay, and try to
Okay.
ponder over it, lot of these achintya
Source,
doubts.
Prabhu? Source?
It can be got. It is nicely explained in the book Tattva Sankhya of Madhvacharya, and it is also explained in Mahabharata Tattvanya of Madhvacharya.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu.
Dharmeshwar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Roya.
One thing is, it's 4 o'clock. We can continue discussion, no problem for some more time. But if somebody is getting late, I don't mind. Yes, Prabhuji, please ask.
Prabhuji, one last question, Roya, from my side. Like, if I understand that Vedas as, if I consider Vedas or scriptures as one entity, then the message of the scriptures is common. But when I segregate Vedas as one entity and Puranas and other things as another entity, then the message of the Vedas becomes different from the essence of the scriptures different. Like Veda says that most of the things present in the Vedas, they talk about Brahma Vidya and other things and all, but they don't talk about the essence of the perfection of life. Whereas the Puranas and especially the Upanishads, Puranas, they talk about the essence of, or the perfection of life. So when we see these Vedas as different entity from the Puranas, then the question comes, then Upanishads or Puranas are giving the more essence of perfection of life than the Vedas itself. So how
That
we
is
can
because
understand this?
that is because our understanding is limited in this regard. When Krishna says Vedescha Sarveraham eva Vedya, I am the only person to be known through all the Vedas. Interestingly, we will deal with this in the Ishvara Prameya part. When we discuss the Ishvara Prameya, we will understand it more clear. But when Agni Sukta is there, Vayu Sukta is there, Indra Sukta is there, any Sukta is there, actually it is glorifying only the Supreme Lord. And it is communicating only pure devotion and nothing else. But just that, because we have not studied the devotional part of it, we take the karma kanda part of it, we take temporary gain part of it from it. But instead of rejecting those sections, if we understand it through the natural commentary, the Srimad Bhagavatam, that is when we will understand that it's the same pure devotion that is communicated throughout. It is just ekvakya. There is no conflict in the Vedas. It is just one message that is communicated. Just like Purusha Sukta, there are 8 suktas. Let's say first 2 suktas say Ganesha is supreme, 3-4 suktas say Shiva is supreme, somewhere else it says Durga is supreme, somewhere else it says Vishnu is supreme. Then there will be conflict, but we don't say that conflict in Purusha Sukta. It is just Ek Vakya that Krishna is supreme. Similarly, you should consider the whole Vedas end to end as just one Sukta. When you say one Sukta, actually there is no conflict in that because it's glorifying the Supreme Lord only. We will see the more detail in the next how it is. Some practical examples I'll give for that. Some practical suktas, how they are interpreted in a way that it is karma kanda and how devotees interpret the same suktas. We'll see, you'll understand it more clear. But there is no conflict in the message actually.
Prabhuji, if that is the case, then how does the verse that Traigunya Vishaya Veda would fit
He is
into
telling
it?
Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna, not Nirveda Bhavarjuna. He is not telling reject the Vedas. He is telling you don't be stuck up in three modes. You take the suktas of the Vedas with the idea that you will be perfecting your human life and developing pure devotion. You don't get stuck in the Falashruti that I will enjoy Swarga happiness by taking the same suktas. But at the same time, you should not reject the suktas because atosmi loke vedesha pratita purushottam. Purushottama is the only person who is discussed in all the Vedas.
Oh, okay, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. When such verses or statements are made, I have got the wrong interpretation that you reject the Vedas and
So
then
mostly in
take
the
up
Krishna
the.
consciousness moment, this is the understanding. But then Bhagavad Gita and if you see Bhaktivedanta purports, they don't hint at this understanding.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah. In further classes, I think I will get more
Yes,
clarity.
yes. This will be more clear in the further classes. Mohan Radharpati Prabhu, you have any question?
So you told that Srila Prabhupada always emphasized that we take shelter of parampara. But at the same time, in purports, many times he wrote that my four books like Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Nectar Devotion are sufficient. We don't need to read anything else. So how do you understand both of these statements?
If you study the exact quote, because you see, there are other places where Prabhupada says, I want you to read previous Acharya's books. And I want you to read the different Shastras, he says. And I have a desire to translate the different Upanishads into English, he says. So there are statements, there are statements like that also, and we should understand all of them together in context. If we read these four books, it is a enough package for us to perfect our human life and go back to Godhead. But when we read the four books once, do we get all the understanding of it? For example, when we read Bhagavad Gita end to end, every time you read it, we get a better understanding of it. So when we study the Srimad Bhagavatam, when we studied the Upanishads, the Brahma Sutras and all, then when we read these four books, it is still giving us more and more knowledge. It is still giving us something more. So in that context, you should understand that these four books have complete knowledge in it. In fact, Tasmat, what is that? Tadvag Visargo Janataga Viplava Aswin Prati Shlokam Abhadyavadap. Every shloka, just one shloka is enough to perfect our human life. Now, how to understand this thing? Any one shloka of Srimad Bhagavatam is enough to perfect means let's read only one shloka. It is not an emphasis to say that we will stop reading other shlokas of Bhagavatam. It is just emphasizing that this is the power of Bhagavatam. Imagine reading 18,000 shlokas, how much knowledge we get. It's a encouragement to read more. Okay, Prabhuji. So we will end here. I will put this week's questions again in the group. Ojasvi Krishna, one last thing if you have to say.
No, just a comment. Thank you so much. Was quite an intellectually stimulating class actually.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I saw that you were quoting various shlokas and various points, various technical terminologies you used. I believe they were from your notes. Can you kindly share your notes? Because I was
I'll
not
share
able to
my
make
notes.
notes today.
Yes, Prabhu, I'll share my notes.
Prabhu, in one of the classes, you actually put up the PPT and then started speaking. It was little more easy for us to relate because by the time we catch hold of the Sanskrit words, then you have to Google it before you go to the text topic.
Okay,
So if
for
you
the
display
present
it,
class, I will share the notes. I will try to make PPT for the further classes.
no need to make PPT. Just whatever you're saying, you can just put it on a Word doc and just show it. That's it.
Fine,
Then
fine.
so we can write
That
it.
is very easy. Then I will just make my notes more formal and just I will share that.
That's it.
Yes,
Thank you
please.
so much, Prabhu. Sorry for the trouble.
No problem at all.
Correct.
Thank you. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। हरे कृष्ण।
Yeah.
Thank you.